You are listening to Slave Song, an enhanced audiobook written by Jay Koh. Episode 1, Part 4. Present day. Gates of the Arctic National Forest, Alaska. A single-engine Cessna aircraft is having radio and navigation trouble in the air. It is flying over the airspace above the gates of the Arctic National Forest. The pilot is unaware that he has flown into a no-fly zone designated by the U.S. Air Force. 275 miles away at Eielson Air Force Base, two Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptors scramble to intercept the Cessna. The pilots ignite their afterburners to hit supersonic speeds. Flying at over twice the speed of sound, they catch up quickly to their target. The troubled pilot is relieved to find a friendly face as the F-22s fly in for visual inspection. The pilot wiggles his wings to confirm he has radio trouble. The lead F-22 pilot hand signals the Cessna to follow, while his wingman continues its weapon lock on the target to destroy it if necessary. On the ground, two figures on horseback observe the drama resolve in the sky. They carry M4 rifles and large-caliber revolvers, commonly kept for bear encounters. Their winter camouflage uniforms suggest they might be soldiers. Their faces are covered against the cold elements, hiding their identities. Their radios come alive, and the two soldiers are called back to CST main base. CST is a private military contractor. Officially, it provides secure cloud storage for the U.S. government. Unofficially, it is home to digital warriors fighting the escalating in-for-war on enemies foreign and domestic. As a privately owned company, they had loose oversight over how it conducted its operations. Even though the United States government was its only client, there was no official affiliation that might reflect negatively back on America. This was a deliberate and convenient relationship for the many covert work the Central Intelligence Agency required. The CST main base was built over an abandoned mining operation from the turn of the century. The vacant site was taken over by the U.S. Navy a few decades ago, while they secretly tested and developed their next-gen nuclear power plants. The Navy has long moved on, finding success in its work. The infrastructure left behind by the Navy was ideal for what CST was looking for when choosing its headquarters. Above ground, this facility is unassuming, resembling a remote native Alaskan settlement. But the maze of underground tunnels hide its true size and purpose. Conveniently, the airspace above them was still protected by the United States Air Force, an arrangement unrescinded by the previous tenant. A V-22 Osprey vertical takeoff aircraft hover over the CST HQ for its final approach. Ordinarily, this aircraft is only used by the military, but this Osprey is completely free of any designation markings, making its ownership unknown. When it completes its vertical landing, a woman exits from the rear hatch opening. Kylan Davis is a young woman with green and blue dyed hair. She is the Chief Technology Officer of CS Digital Security. Kylan is dressed in casual Fridays, with a yellow puffy coat to protect against the cold elements. She is greeted by the two previously seen soldiers on horseback. Together, they form an unusual trio in an unlikely place. The two soldiers remove their face coverings, revealing an Asian woman in her early 20s and a Korean-American man in his 40s. Remnants of severe cuts and burns disfigure the man's face, but the young woman has delicate and beautiful features, rare for a Special Forces soldier. Magnus and Lamisa eagerly await news from Kylan. Kylan finds warm gloves in her pockets, then pulls them on as she speaks.
The transport went through without incident. Songbei is alive, for now.
She checks her watch, a chunky orange Casio G-Shock which clashes with her colorful jacket and hair.
He should be landing in Korea in about 12 hours from now.
Lamisa and Magnus exchange a knowing look. They come to an understanding without speaking a single word. They turn their horses around and gallop away in a flurry of snow. 12 hours later, Incheon International Airport, South Korea. Ye Shin and her team landed at Incheon International Airport without incident. She notices Songbei looking out the round window with subtle enthusiasm. It was more than he's ever shown this entire time at anything, Maybe it was the excitement of homecoming, although she doubts how pleasant it was, especially in chains. The airport is a marvel to Songbei. Korea has changed dramatically since he last lived here. Even though it was his homecoming, it didn't feel like home to him. Ye Shin refrained from questioning Songbei about his accused crimes during the flight. It would have broken many legal protocols. In her opinion, this case had too many missing pieces, not ready for prosecution. As to why her superiors insisted on proceeding was another mystery to her. It's possible her colleagues are setting her up for failure, ruining her career before it really began. She quickly dismisses that thought. Her failure would be an embarrassment to the entire Ministry of Justice. Ye Shin is anxious to get Songbei secure, then do a thorough interview on record. Her team is met with uniformed officers when they clear the boarding bridge. They are warned about the large press corps gathering outside, waiting to get a glimpse of Songbei. It took few hours for the new transport team to be assembled. Songbei is placed in a passenger van, with 2 guards next to him. Ye Shin is in the passenger seat. 2 armored trucks are positioned to escort this van from the front and rear, along with 2 police cruisers and 4 motorcycle units. They assign a dozen armed SWAT team members in the armored trucks. Songbei sizes up the security detail, unimpressed. He remains stoic, his heightened alertness making everyone around him edgy. He worries for their safety, especially the prosecutor since she is not armed.
I know I'm not in a position to ask for anything, but may I recommend you travel separately from us? I have enemies who will spare no expense to kill me, and when they come, they'll spare no one around me.
Ye Shin is not sure how to respond. There was genuine concern behind his words. She decides to respond with some confidence, hoping to ease the tension.
My men are professionals. We are in capable hands.
The convoy travels out of Incheon Airport via Expressway 110 bridge. 2 police cruisers and the motorcycle escort clear the heavy traffic before them. A toll gate limits the traffic to a steady drip, and the convoy speed through on the bypass lane. The Incheon Bridge is over 11 miles long, one of the longest cable-stayed bridges in the world. It crossed over the Yellow Sea, leading directly into the port of Incheon. When the convoy reaches the middle of the crossing, they are interrupted. 4 armed commandos climb out from the side rails and unleash 2 Swedish ET-4 anti-tank rockets at the lead police cruisers. The direct hits create 2 large explosions, and the vehicles go up in flames. Unable to react in time, the front armored truck crashes into a flaming patrol car, coming to an abrupt stop. Songbei's van tries to avoid rear-ending the armored truck and swerves left, crashing into the side railing, then flipping over. The commandos deal with the motorcycle escort with a long burst of automatic gunfire. The 2 cops are torn up instantly. With the convoy stopped on the roadway, a second team of commandos climbs onto the bridge from the rear. They position themselves to deal with any vehicles trying to turn back, effectively trapping the convoy in the middle of the bridge. This rear team immediately killed the remaining motorcycle escorts. They also target the rear armored truck, pinning down the officers trying to exit the vehicle. The SWAT team find themselves grossly outgunned. Their 9mm MP5 submachine guns are no match for the AK-47 assault rifles used by the commandos. Overwhelmed, many of the SWAT team now lay injured or dead. The once peaceful bridgeway is covered in smoke, littered with destruction, and bathed in blood. The commandos at the front side ambush approach the convoy, seeking their final target. The gunfire and explosions have halted commuter traffic both ways, creating a natural roadblock to any reinforcement trying to arrive by ground. On the opposite side of the bridge, curious onlookers have abandoned their cars, but instead of running away, they reach for their cell phones in hopes of spotting someone famous. The violence is so surreal that they think it's a movie being filmed. When the growing crowd felt the stray bullets pass by their heads, they were confused. When those stray bullets left holes in their cars, survival instincts finally kicked in, and they ran. Inside the overturned van, Songbei regains consciousness. He looks around, finding both of his guards bleeding from head wounds, unconscious. In the front seat, the driver looks gravely injured, along with Ye Shen, who is also unconscious with a visible head wound. He hears the sporadic pops of MP5 gunfire, but the distinctive roar of AK-47s in response alarms Songbei.
I got visitors, and they came heavy.
With the desperate cries of the injured outside, Songbei knows that they are in a losing battle. He needed to act quickly.